most famous physical therapist on the internet.
Howdy, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Because we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today we're going to talk about, should you stop icing? Are you delaying healing by doing so?
So we're talking about cold packs.
Yep. We'll get into it. By the way, if you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we upload every day. Also, go to bobandbrad.com. Go to the giveaway section because we're always giving something away. Right. This week, we're giving away Pete's Choice. It's a foam pad. You can use it for balance. Brad and I use this thing for a lot of things.
Yeah, I think we use it for stuff they never thought of when they got them. I don't know, but
helping you can sit on it and raise the hip. It's a very comfortable seat, but it's ideal on it a ton.
Yeah,
for mobs and stuff like that. But whatever.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you can sign up for the contest at bobbrad.com in the giveaway section. Go to Facebook; it'll be pinned to the top of the page there. The contest. Go to Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok if you want a 60-second version of our program. And we have what now, Brad?
A podcast.
Yeah.
Is this going to be on a podcast?
No.
Okay.
We should really try. Oh, we probably could make this a podcast.
Well,
Never mind.
Of course.
This is a podcast.
Yeah, we're on the fly today. Let's get moving.
Okay. So we're definitely undecided on this yet.
Yeah.
I'm listening to the arguments, and I'll certainly think about it, and I'll maybe take a case by case issue. I'll look at it.
Right, because historically we've both been pretty big proponent therapists of cold packs, ice packs, which I think was across the board over the years.
Yeah, in fact, you use ice a lot, Brad, for your chronic pain, your spondylolisthesis.
Right, back pain. Yep, if I do something that I shouldn't be doing,
you feel it really helps.
I have a cold pack in my freezer, and it's available 24/7. Not that I use it a lot, but it's not unusual either.
So the argument was presented by Gary Reinl. I hope I pronounced his name right. R-E-I-N-L. He's the author of Iced, the Illusionary Treatment Option. Now, the other person that supports this is Kelly Starrett. We've had him on our podcast.
Sure.
Kelly Starrett. And he's a bestseller of the book, Becoming the Supple Leopard. Really a great book if you're...
So it's a hunting book?
No,
it's about muscles and tissue and...
mobilization and moving right and lifting right. And if you are an athlete, you definitely want to take a look at it.
Sure.
If you're just trying to get some mobility back, you should look at it. So this all started in 1978. So Gabe Mitkin coined the phrase RICE for treatment after an injury.
Right.
You have rest, ice, compression, and elevation for soft tissue injuries.
Right. So ankle sprain, you do those 4 things, and it's the way you start out your treatment.
This is where things get a little interesting, Brad, though. In 2000, I can't remember what the day was. The teens, I believe, 2000 teens, he announced rest and ice can actually delay healing. And so the guy that came up with the phrase that can delay healing and actually cause additional damage. So as far as studies, I did see one recently about moving, about rest versus moving after injury. And they had found that, yes, low intensity movement was a lot better than rest after an injury. Now, we're not talking about a fracture, of course.
Sure.
We're talking about, a strain but getting the muscles moving. I can buy into that.
I can, obviously if it's a real severe sprain and it's swollen up like a watermelon, it's very tender, the movement's going to be pretty subtle at first, I would imagine.
Right.
Even just get the muscles to contract so we get some fluid movement in the tissue.
Right.
Yeah.
So Gary Reinl, the author of the book that we were talking about, he said, when you ask if you should ice something, he said, no, it's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
So here's the argument.
It's the worst thing you can do.
We've
been doing the worst thing for the last 30 years. It takes me a while to swallow.
I know. So you're trapping waste in and around the damaged site.
Okay.
I do buy into that. You're preventing the flow of oxygen. So, anything that supplied via that blood circulation is not being supplied because ice does slow it down.
Well, vasoconstricts is what the theory is.
Well, yeah,
pushes out fluid.
Then it might bring it back in.
Bring it back in when
Sure.
that was the theory. So now we've got a different theory.
Yeah. And he said too, it can cause additional damage to tissues and nerves.
Sure.
So I've had, you don't remember this, Brad, but Chris and
How do you know?
I bet you don't. So Chris and I had this discussion when we were talking about ibuprofen,
Yeah.
and I said, "Does that delay healing because it's delaying the swelling?"
Oh, right.
And he said, "Yeah, it could."
Yeah.
So it's interesting,
Right. The inflammatory phase of an injury is good.
right.
It's part what the body is supposed to do to heal, but the theory is it overdoes it.
It overdoes it, right?
Right.
Exactly, and so that's what ice is supposed to help with.
Right.
But they're saying no, it really doesn't overdo it. You just have to control that swelling some other way.
Sure.
So, through wrapping or active motion. So again, what they recommend is active recovery
Yeah.
or using a muscle stimulator, like on the areas to make the muscles work on their own.
So like a TENS unit that has EMS.
Yeah, EMS unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, electrical muscle stimulation.
Right. So I would think water, if you had a pool or something where it may be more comfortable to move the ankle or the knee, but that's not very accessible for certain people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about an ice bath?
No. Just
water.
like a pool.
Oh, sure.
So,
ice does help with pain and swelling. There's no doubt, but they're saying the body knows how to heal. There was, not ice was never around for the early ancestors.
Well, in the wintertime it was. Snowbank.
There we go. But so again, we're not arguing one way or the other. We're just presenting it to you. You can decide, and I'm sure there'll be more studies that come out.
But this is really good news because there are people, I've had patients, they just do not like
ice.
Any ice whatsoever. It touches them and they just make them jump. And so get it moving, get the part moving. Don't overdo it. Do it so.
Well, it's got to be pain-free movement.
Right.
Yeah. It's got to be.
And of course the compression, the
right.
wraps,
Compression's still a good idea.
That they're saying that's good. So it's not that far out once we think about it. It's just a little.
Yeah, I like the movement idea.
Yeah,
so
the compression's good too. So
all right, give us your comments below. We always love people's opinions, so lay them on us.
That's right. Good luck without icing. One less thing to do.
Thanks for watching.